Ameriprise Financial did a survey to see what's happening with the finances within marriages. And what they found was there's a lot of disagreement among couples over what they should do with their money, how much they should save, where they should spend. And I thought it was fascinating. So let's talk about that a little bit. They found that 73% of pairs said they approached financial decision-making differently than their partner did. Now, a lot of times that happens because talking about your finances prior to getting married is an uncomfortable thing to discuss. Like, you should discuss it, but a lot of people don't, and then they get married, and then they have these huge differences in the way that they handle money, and it's a disaster, right? So that happens. Also, 5% of couples cop to having a hidden account that partners don't know about. And
Drums.
Yeah, and 30% argued about money at least once a month, often about a major purchase or spending habit, though 82% said that they could resolve the disagreement and move on.
So now 30%, I would have thought the number would be higher, but that is every month.
Yeah.
So that does add up, okay? And it's super unsurprising, and this is part of why it's harder to keep marriages together if you have less money. So this is where money does matter, because if you have more money, then people aren't sweating the $100 you spent on this or on that.
Right.
Whereas if you have a very tight budget, then you're constantly fighting over the $28 purchase and the $42 purchase.
Yeah, so let me talk about that a little bit. The survey also found that, you know, the issues very obviously differ based on generations. So if it's a millennial couple, they say that they're okay with their partner spending up to $100 without consulting with one another ahead of time, right? When it comes to baby boomers, that number goes up to $500.
But that's partly because the boomers are richer.
Yeah, of course, they're richer, they're more financially stable, so that all makes a lot of sense. This is the part of marriage that I think scares me the most, because I don't want to consult with anyone when I want to spend money. Like, I just want to spend my money, you know? So it's an interesting, it's food for thought, you know? Like, I guess you kind of have to like have a conversation sometimes about that kind of stuff.
Look, we've been over this a lot of times. Marriage has got a lot of ups and downs. The upside is you get to share with someone and you grow together, and you've got, you know, if you have kids, I think it's amazing part of your life and life experience. Okay, now the realities of the downsides are you have to compromise on everything. What movie are we going to see? Well, I want to see a Tarantino movie. She wants to see a schmoopy movie, right?
Yeah.
Not my wife, but some wives I hear. Okay, and so so you got to compromise. Where are we going to eat? You know, I want sushi. She wants Italian. Okay, you got to compromise. So, and especially on money, you have to keep compromising. And when you on money, that's where it really hits the bone, because you're like, but I want my freedom to spend on what I used to spend on.
Especially when we're all, you know, feeling the stress and the pressure of being part of the workforce, and you feel like I earned it, you know, like I earned it, and I want to do what I want to do with my money, and I get that. But yeah, I mean, once you enter that partnership, you do have to work as a team and have a conversation when it comes to some big purchases. By the way, same-sex couples are the most responsible out of all couples. Okay, so let's go to that.
I was told that their marriages are worse, that they were against God. Huh, interesting.
Look, on average, they're way more responsible. Same-sex couples were more likely than heterosexual couples to say they shared financial responsibility equally, and were more likely to say that their respective roles and responsibilities were something they had intentionally discussed early in their relationships.
I have a theory on that. My theory is that with men and women, there are some assumptions that are built in, so you don't bother having the conversation. Whereas with the same-sex couples, there are no built-in assumptions. So you have to have a conversation. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you want to do about this? And you're forcing that conversation, which then leads to a better result.
That's a good hypothesis.
I think that's a good theory.
It is.
I think so. All right, by the way, I have an answer for you on how to resolve all this. You should have separate bank accounts and a joint account. And you guys put in whatever you agree to into the joint account, and you pay all your rent or your mortgage, your shopping, etc., out of the joint account. So you're perfectly comfortable with that. And then whatever you do in your separate accounts, well, that's your business.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. That's what I do. So
what I love is that the $500 limit it's like it's all the things that you kind of want to do on either side.
Yeah.
You know, you want to get your hair done, you want to get a massage, either way. Okay, you want to go a little gambling, right? And so, yeah, go ahead. You know?
Yeah.
And it covers that without us, getting in each other's business too much.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing. And that was my biggest fear growing up because, my family, my parents had a very traditional family with very traditional gender roles. My mom was the housewife, my dad earned the money. And so my dad knew about everything my mom spent her money on. And sometimes honestly would like dissect things and say like, oh, you could have gotten a deal if you bought it here or there. And I was like, I don't want that life. That life is not for me.
I'm not sure I've ever asked Wendy what she spent the money on. Because ain't nobody got time for me to figure out what she's spending money on and et cetera, right? As long as there's enough money in the joint account for our expenses, 222, okay,
it's fine.
Then let her, she's a full-time therapist. She works hard. Let her spend it on whatever the hell she wants to spend it on.
Exactly. To catch our awesome post-game shows, join and become a member. tytnetwork.com/join.